Hello, America. This is Rex Stokes and the Veteran Patriot. So this week, we had the exciting testimony coming from Robert Mueller. Democrats craved all week for a bombshell. They thought they'd get their smoking gun. They got a dud. They didn't get exactly what they wanted, even though they tried twisting his words to whichever way they could to make it sound like Trump was guilty. Ted Lieu asked him, "Would you indict the president?" He said yes. But then he came back later on and said, "I'd want to add a correction to my testimony this morning. I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Lieu, who said, and I quote, 'You didn't charge the president because of LC opinion. That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said at the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.'" Really? Can't we just let this go? No, the Democrats can't. Why? Because they want to keep the impeachment talk going. They want it to keep going until the election. They don't care whether they impeach him or not. They just want that out there. So during the election, they can say, "See, we should have impeached this guy. Do you really want him to come back to office?" Is that what they should be doing? No. What they should be doing is taking care of this country. They're so busy running around looking for guilt, looking to impeach him. What's getting done? We have a crisis at our border. We have crisis with the infrastructure. Our bridges are falling. Our roads are in disrepair. Why? Why are we not taking care of this? Because the Democrats have TDS. Let's get over it. Let's move on. They're not going to. Nadler held a press conference on Friday. He basically said, "We're going to hold Trump responsible because, according to Mueller, he abused his office." That's not what Mueller said. He never said that. Matter of fact, he said they never found any evidence of a conspiracy. Now, they wanted to keep bringing up Paul Manafort and this guy and that guy, but the things they got Paul Manafort were before Trump ever hired him to be his campaign chairman. Let's move on. Let's be honest. Now, granted, both sides have been dishonest in this whole thing. But what do we expect from politicians? That's their way. One of the things we need to stop doing, though, is stop putting in people who only think about themselves when they get elected. If you're elected to office, and there's 537 of them, president, vice president, 435 congresswomen and men, and 100 senators. When you go to office, you represent everybody in your district. If you're a Democrat, you still represent Republicans. You need to listen to both sides. Another thing we need to do, and I was always against this before, but I think it's time for term limits. You know, Jefferson, his ideal thing was you go, you do a couple of terms, and you go back to the farm and let the next person step up. Well, we see what's happening when we have career politicians like Nadler, Pelosi, Schumer. When they don't get their way, they obstruct. But it also happens on the Republican side. It's time to end this. Take care of the country that you're supposed to represent. Now, my next subject is about the squad. This week, Representative Omar, decided to take her newfound fame with the squad and introduce a BDS movement. For you that don't know what a BDS movement is, it's to boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel because she doesn't like Israel. And her buddy, Representative Tlaib, is there helping her out. They went so far as to compare Israel to Nazi Germany. Now, I have a huge problem with that. If you study the history of the Jews, it's not a very good one. These are people that have been enslaved numerous times, have been subjected to pogroms all over the world. And if you don't know what a pogrom is, it's where the village people would ride in and they would start beating and killing Jews for no other reason than they were Jews. And then you compare them to the regime that tried to exterminate every one of them. Shame on you. Shame on you, Representatives Omar and Tlaib. You need to let go of your hate. You are both Muslim people. Now, I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. I met a good many people that were Muslim. And a lot of them taught me that Muslims believe in peace and love. That's what Islam is supposed to be about. Too many people like Talib and Omar have hate in their hearts and won't let it go. Let it go. You should be ashamed of yourselves for trying to do something like this. Now, my final discussion today is, this week, Ivanka Trump gave her daughter a dog. And a lot of people went nuts and said she's a racist because, well, she gave her an all-white dog. Who cares what color the dog is? She gave her daughter a dog. Stay out of it. It's none of your business. It's between her and her daughter. But shortly after that, it started popping up all over the place that white people like to have dogs because, well, they still want to own slaves and they can be a master over a dog. Let it go. Let it go. A dog, if you treat it right and love it, will give you unconditional love. Most people that I know of all colors that own dogs treat their dog as a member of the family, not a pet. My daughter's dog knows me as Papa, and she's my grand dog. I don't own her. My daughter doesn't own her. She's a member of the family, and we love her that way. We have to let the racism go. The problem is so many people are running around screaming it because they know it makes other people go, oh, I have to be quiet now. They're saying I might be a racist. No. If you scream it so many times, people will stop listening. Somebody needs to sit the Democrats down and tell them the story of the boy who cried wolf. Remember? He cried wolf too many times, and then when the wolf came, nobody came to help him. So what's going to happen if you keep screaming racism all the time? Is there racism in the world? Yes. All over the world. And it's terrible. We have to remember, though, not all people are racist. It's not something you're born with. It's something you're taught. So what we need to do is teach people racism is wrong. I'd like to thank you, my fellow Americans, for tuning in today, and have a good day.